Welcome, everybody, to the Evolution Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Decremer from Tornado Power Builders.
And I'm Christina Joy from Chaos to Clarity Lab.
And today, our guest is Remcy Mongrue. Is that how I say your last name?
Mongrue,
Awesome.
yeah.
Close enough. Remcy has actually been a member of our community here, Evergreen Foundations, our collaborative communities, through all of its evolution. Different names, multiple communities, different people involved. Remcy has always kind of been there, shows up to groups, really good boy of mine. So it's awesome to bring him on the podcast here today. How are you doing today, Remcy?
I'm doing great, man. I feel pretty good.
That's great to hear, dude. I've always had amazing conversations with you, and I'm super looking forward for our audience to get to know you. So, who is Remcy?
Remcy, Remcy is a self-improvement junkie, man. I always put that in any kind of self-improvement site I'm on. I love learning, man. I love everything about learning. I love learning how to learn. I love different things like music and anime and video games, and I'm huge into astrology, super huge into astrology. But the main thing is the main thing is I like to learn. I think comes from my father, and he does that's just imprinted in my brain. I love learning about things that I'm interested in. So I would say a self improvement junkie who just loves to learn, pretty much. Yeah.
Since I've known you, you've learned, like, you're always finding new ways to learn too. Like, you'd come back to the community and be like, "Hey guys, check out this app." And I think you're the one that introduced me to Notion and creating Notions, and like, check out this app. Or I know for a while you were doing like an RPG style self-improvement thing. You've done some like challenges and competitions. You've done things through Reddit. Where did your like drive to find like the competitive side of learning come from?
Boredom. That's it, bro. Boredom. That was it. I was bored. I was like, yo, man, I'm learning all this stuff, but I get bored. I'm like, "Oh, man, there's gotta be something else. Something. Other people out here who's trying to learn just like me." And then when I found these apps and these websites where you can study and they time you and they put you on a leaderboard based on how long you study, I was like, this exists, but it's very niche. It's like very small amount of people know about this thing. And some of these people go hard, man. I've been trying to keep up with these people. The top learner studies for 90 hours a week. I'm like, sheesh. Even with this staycation I'm doing, I still can't reach. The most I can get is like maybe 60, but still, that's better than nothing. So I love that stuff. That's just from boredom, and I have a very creative mind. It just comes to me. I don't have to sit down and think about it. Just I'll be walking somewhere and it'll just come to me. Just do this. Or what about this? What about this thought? Every time. I've always had a creative mind. I feel like I'm not saying I'm not always a creative person, but I think like I have a creative mind. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
I know how to draw. I know how to play guitar, but I'm not one of those people who was like, oh, since I was 5, 10, 15, I've been playing guitar and playing piano or drawing, like most artists and musicians, because that's usually what you hear. I've been drawing since I was 5, 6, 10, 15. Nah, me, I started way, way, way later. But those creative thoughts have always been inside of me since I was a kid, all the time.
I can totally relate to that. I've always kind of been that way myself and have needed to like find creative outlets. And I think that's why I'm like an ADHDpreneur and content creator and learn AI and coach and consult and like the 45 other things I do, because I always like love finding creative outlets and ways to take that creative brain and like put it into action. So yeah, I can totally see that for sure.
Yeah, I totally get that too. I mean, I've I've done all kinds of things, and I have a massive craft collection because I'll get into this one thing for a while and then I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's real cool." And then like I totally bounce and do something else. And then I'll come back to it and then I'll get something else. And so I totally understand that creative outlet that you have to keep having in some kind of new way. Because yeah, I get bored too. So yeah, I feel all of that. I think that's really cool. I'm really interested. I know you have something to share with us, but before we do that, I'm just so interested in this astrology piece. I just want to know how astrology weaves into your daily life. And I'm a big fan of astrology. I do a business astrology report in my community every morning. So I would love to hear how astrology fits into all of this with you.
Huge, man. I got into it, oh my gosh, sometime around my 20s. And I was like, yo, I always knew I was a Capricorn, but I didn't know, I didn't know anything else about it. My friend got me this book called, I think it's called The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need, something like that. I started reading into the moon sign, and I was like, "There's a moon sign? I thought it was just the sun sign." You have all these other signs: moon, the Mars sign, the Venus, the Jupiter, the Neptune, and stuff like that. And I was like, once I started getting into that level of all the signs and the stuff like that, then I started to like, oh wow, this is why I think the way I think, and this is why I do the things that I do, especially for me being a Libra rising. So Venus is my ascendant ruler, and Venus is in the fifth house for me, and my North Node is in the fifth house too. So I'm like, okay, this is why I'm like leaning more towards the music and the arts as I get older, because astrology, when you go really deep, the North Node is about like who you're supposed to kind of be as you get older. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm like, oh, and the more I studied the astrology, the more I was like, it started to make sense. Things started to click, of my strengths and my weaknesses and stuff like that, and me being eccentric and stuff like that. It all started to click the more I studied astrology. So that's really what it's about.
I love that. I think that's amazing. And I started following this certain app that knew, it knew my whole chart, and I didn't really understand what it all meant yet, but I would follow that app every day, and it would tell me some things about myself, and I'd dive even deeper. And over the time period of the last 5 years of using this app now, well, really in the first 2 years, I was like, wait a minute. Like, this knows like the timing in my life where certain things are like this certain energy comes over me, like, you're going through a transformation, girl, hold on tight, and no kidding. It seems like the last few years I keep having like one transformation after another. I'm in one real big one right now, actually. And yeah, I it just got to a point that I'm like, I can't even deny it. Like, I can't even deny how accurate it is in my life. I mean, it doesn't tell you what's going to happen, doesn't predict things for you, but it gives you the vibe for sure, helps you work with it. So that's been my experience, at least. I think it's really cool that you feel that too. You get that.
I think it give you a better understanding too of like emotions, seasons, periods in our brains and lives and the way we respond to things. I think it can give you a better understanding to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like that is happening, right? Like not a hey, this is who I am, but more of a deeper understanding of how we are on a like systemic level, right? So I like the astrology piece as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Okay, yes. So what I want to get into, man, the process, not the product, especially for creatives. This is specifically for creative people who are pursuing a creative career. Me and my best friend are both pursuing a creative career, but we're stuck into this world where you have to work and stuff like. So the thing I really want to talk about is process, not product. In America, it's about. It seems to me like it's about the product. And I remember I read a book about this. It's how is it called? The Practicing Mind by Thomas M. Sterner. One of my favorite books of all time. The Practicing Mind by Thomas M. Stern. He talks about this whole product thing. It starts in school with the grades, and if you're an A student, you're great, and if you're an F student, you're terrible. And he said that kind of impacts how you go throughout life, because the grade kind of reflects who you are. Maybe you think that way as a child and grow up thinking that way too. So like it ends up being something like that. But what we should really focus on is the process, not the product. I wanted to share a thing from the book that he wrote. I don't know if I can share that. Can I share that? How do you share?
Yeah, you can share your screen.
Okay, let me
I
see.
allowed you right here, Harold. Yeah, you're
Okay,
good.
boom, right there. Yeah. Um. On the other, a coach does not recognize. I'm trying to get to the part. Yeah, they went to like a Japanese factory, and he observed the worker whose job was to prepare the piano plate, the big gold harp assembly strings, after it come out of casting. These plates are made from cast iron. When they come out of mold, they're pretty rough looking. The plate must undergo grinding and polishing before it can be painted. All this stuff. The guy asked him, "How many plates could he get finished in a day?" The worker looked at him. Japanese worker looked at him and said, confused, "As many as I can make perfect." Retailer asked, "But don't you have a supervisor to report to?" "What is a supervisor?" asked the worker. "Someone to make sure you do your job correctly," answered the retailer. "Why would I need someone to make sure I do my job correctly?" answered the Japanese worker. "That's my job." That blew my mind. All right, I'm stop sharing the screen now. I don't know how to stop sharing the screen, but that blew my mind when he said that. I was like, wow. And then the next part is we can't begin to conceive of a mindset like this. If it took him all day to make one perfect play, he was done. So I was like, yo, that is incredible. And that's what I'm talking about. It goes to like what I'm gonna show next, the guitar. When I first started playing this thing, they didn't tell me to play like crazy stuff. They just said just play. That's it. That's it. Just play like these things and just keep doing that
What age were you when you
very
started playing the
slowly.
guitar?
That was like, oh my God, years ago. I don't remember. I think I first started maybe when I was like 23. And then I got into it like 10 years later because I procrastinated so much. But I started taking it seriously. It's just like the whole the thing I just showed you with the Japanese worker. You just process, not product. You just one step at a time. And that's how it goes. And
So
then
how do you?
after that, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No, sorry, keep going.
Oh, and then after that, once you start doing that, they'll say, okay, now put two fingers up here and then just play this. And then you start going from there to like maybe A, and then so on and so forth and stuff like that. But the process is what matters, and taking it slow and easy and one step at a time and not focusing on the end results.
How do you apply that in your day to day?
Um, I do it now by focusing on the process of whatever I'm doing. So if I'm drawing, I have drawing to show too. Um, I'll focus on just the one aspect of the drawing or the one aspect of the guitar part or the piano part. So if I'm playing like a song, I'll just focus on just the one part of the song. You know what I mean? Like this is Hotel California. I'm not gonna play the whole Hotel California song, but it'll be just that one part of the Hotel California. Just that's it. And then maybe the second part of Hotel California. That's it. Nothing more than that. Just those two, that's it. And then after I do those two a bunch of times, go to the next part. Okay, I did those two. That's it. So I celebrate. Small win. And go to the next part. And then gradually I'll put all the parts together for the song. So on and so forth. I'm not gonna play the whole song, but it's just that step by step. I like that because it's better than the whole, you have to get the whole thing done now, like right now, or in this time period, or in this time frame. Just the process. And as a creator, I can see why people um, take years and years to make these things. Like video games, I love Nintendo personally, but it takes them years to make a video game. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years because they have to focus on the process, and then things go backwards and forwards, and the creativity is just. And it taught me a lot. Like this is how it works for creators. Sometimes it just takes a long time, and you just got to focus on the journey and not the destination.
Now, I have a question about that. So you might have, even though you're focusing in on the journey itself, do you always have a big picture in mind? Do you know, like, for the most part, this thing is going here? like let's say you're working on a drawing, and you're working on this one little part. Do you have in your head what that whole thing is probably going to be, or for certain what it's going to be, or are you like, nope, I'm just right here and we'll see where it goes?
Oh no, no, I'm definitely the former. What you're talking about? Definitely, I have the whole vision in my head. I know what I want to produce,
Okay.
but I don't want to focus on that big, huge, big picture. I want to focus on the trees, not the forest. I know what the
Yeah.
forest looks like, but I want to
Yeah.
focus on the trees, and that's it. Because focusing on the forest is it can be overwhelming. It takes some people they can work that way, but for me, it's just like just focus on the trees. Once we build enough trees, then we'll get to the forest part.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here a little bit because I've known you for a while and I kind of know your plans and a few things. And I know we've already played this together, but not on a podcast. What happens when the forest kind of goes further back in division and you spend too much time on the trees and not moving forward to, say, the flowers and the path to the forest?
Oh man, I would say in that case, y- I don't. I would say you have to cut your losses if you're going too deep into the details. But yeah, I would say you have to, like look at the forest more. If that's the case, if it's going too far, you got to cut it off at some point. Like, you know what? No, we're done. We got our picture. Let's just move forward and just go with it. But that depends on the person and stuff like that. It depends on the person and their project and what they want to do and what their vision is. You know what I mean? This is why I respect video game creators so much, because they have a vision, and they it's like as long as it takes to get there, that's will be as long as it takes to get there. That's the way that we have to go on it. But you're right though. If it's getting too far, because sometimes people do things where it just going far and far, and it just trying to be perfect and stuff like that. My job is not to be perfect. My job is to be intermediate level in all my goals, like all my hobbies, and then after that, I'll move towards the forest. I'm getting there, but I'm still like going up one step at a time, but I am getting there. So that's pretty cool.
So, I know you combine art and music and your creative yearn for learning and everything that you do kind of into one, but what is that like vision that you're in the process of?
The vision is to create a comic book, but it's gonna be like a comic book where the music is playing the central role. So, the example I always give is like me playing a sad song on the piano or the guitar, and then you're gonna see a video of that like on YouTube, but it'll be like two videos in one. So it'll be like me playing the sad song and me drawing out the sad scene, just as an example. So you're hearing the music, and then you're seeing what's happening to the character on the screen as I'm playing the music. So you feel the sadness and you see the sadness at the same time. That's an example. That's what I want to do, but I still have to create. There's so much that goes into this stuff. I know it's been a long time, but I still have to create characters, story, villains, the motivations behind the characters. I have to learn how to write these things. I have to learn how to play certain types of notes and chords and stuff, and draw certain types of uh, drawing techniques, stuff like that. So it all takes a lot of time to do that kind of stuff, and that's why I'm like, let's just focus on the process. Because if I just launch it, I'm just like, well, okay, here it is, no characters, no story, no villains, no nothing, just me doing little stuff. And then sometimes as a creator, what happens with creators too, one of my favorite creators, Togashi Yoshihiro, the guy who made Hunter x Hunter, he takes massive breaks, months and months, doesn't do nothing. For months, does nothing, nothing. You'd be like, what's wrong with him? Because that's just the way it happens when you're creative. Sometimes you just nothing comes. Sometimes that's a good thing too, to just do nothing for weeks. Sometimes even for months, just nothing. And then one day it'll come to you, and then you start going on it. It's strange. It's not the same path as like doing something that's logical. That's a step one, step two, three, four. When it's creative, it's very you have to have like a different approach. You have to have a very, very different approach. That's something I've learned over the years.
This guy can't have kids. I haven't done nothing in 15 years.
when I listen to you, I feel like the way that I run my business has increasingly become very creative because I've realized I have ADHD and I'm learning how to work with those energies that come at different times of days. And so I started tracking my energy level. And every once in a while I'll just pick up my phone and get into my Notion app, my little tracker I created, and I'll just fill out the really quick little thing. Well, anyway, what I've realized is that there's certain times of days on Tuesdays, or which are different than Fridays, but there's certain times of days that I'm usually better at this type of thing and better at this other thing later in the day. And so it's helped me to be able to like run my business based on that schedule rather than it being like, okay, from 9 to 12 every day, this is what I do. And it's perfectly going to, because, like my energy doesn't work like that, and I need to give myself the grace. And I think we all do, truly, ADHD or not. We all need to give ourselves the grace and the time to like take a day, take a break, take a week, take a whatever you need, because if you try to push too hard into something, especially something creative, I feel like you just keep spinning until that block is done, and sometimes you need that rest for that block to clear up. um so all that resonates with me. I mean, even with a business that's supposed to be very linear or whatever, it's not for me. It's very creative, so I appreciate your process.
Yeah, I like what you said too about the certain times of day. I've noticed for me now, usually in the morning times I'm like pretty productive. In the afternoon I take a slump, and then in the evening I go back to being productive again. But sometimes it's like in the morning I'm good, in the afternoon it's a slump, and in the evening it's a slump. So I like what you said about tracking your the times of day when the energy is like up or when it's down and stuff like that. I gotta
Mhm.
keep that into consideration because I didn't think about that.
And it's also about the type of energy, because I track my social energy. I track executive function, which would be like just the admin kind of stuff, like get this stuff done, and um, creative energy. So every time I check in, I'm like, okay, each one of these is from low all the way to high. And I pick which one it is, and I have to do every one of them, because sometimes my social energy level might be like real high, but I can't create anything, you know? Um, and so I'm actually tracking that deep. And it's pretty interesting when I'm coming up. It sounds like you would totally vibe with that too. But yeah. So what is like, do you have better creative energy at certain times a day, or are there certain days of the week, or does it just come and go and you take it as you can, or how does that work for you?
It mostly just comes and goes for the most part. It just comes and goes. I don't really. I noticed that I'm productive more in the morning, and then I'm productive more at night, and I slump in the middle in the afternoon. But as far as the creative energy, like the creative thoughts, that just comes to me anywhere, any time of the day, anywhere. It just pops to my head. Oh, just do this. Oh, why don't you try this? It just randomly, like there's no flow for that one at all. Yeah, yeah. Um, when I first started learning how to draw, I wanted to this brought back a lot of memories for me, man. They told me to just draw stuff like this. I don't know if you can really see it. Just a bunch of
Oh yeah.
circles. It's just
Yep.
circles and random stuff. They wasn't telling me to draw anything like deep or anything like that. Just draw circles and stuff like that. And they just told me to do that. And I kept doing that over and over and over and over again. You see what I'm saying? Just drawing random circles, And then eventually, they told me to start drawing cubes and stuff like that. I don't know if that can really be
Oh, cool.
seen.
Yeah.
Maybe I drew, I think, on two different parts of the paper, so maybe it's showing two different sides of the paper. That kind of looks crazy to me.
But that looks like more perspective work, like like you're looking down a hallway or you're looking into a room different ways. That's what
Yeah,
that looks like.
exactly. It's more perspective work. That is what it is, more perspective. And then I started drawing like cubes. It's like old drawing. And I look at it now, I'm just like, dang, man, this is pretty bad. But to some people, they might say it's pretty good. But to me, it's like, but I like that. It's a more of the proof of the process thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Mhm.
like, wow. I look back on these old drawings, and that's how they taught me. Just draw circles, just draw lines, just start drawing circles and lines and ovals. Don't think about drawing the human body and the face and the cars and the trees and all. Just draw circles and lines. And they'll move from there into drawing cubes and rectangles and just draw random shapes. And they kept telling me that. Just draw random stuff and be like free flowing with it and draw very, very light. Don't draw like heavy. Just draw light. I don't like that.
So that actually brings up a kind of a good question here for me. So was your process of, hey, I want to do a comic book and I want to add music and art and story and everything that I do? Was that process of I'm going to take this slow and teach myself all this and do it step by step, like right away? Or was that something that evolved over time when you realized you had to like learn some of the skills and stuff?
It definitely evolved over time. It wasn't something that I was planning on doing right away. There was a guy, I like this guy so much. His advice is good. His name is Roberto Blake. He's a YouTuber that teaches people how to be YouTubers. And he said, I always take this advice to heart. He said every YouTuber when they start should just make 100 videos. 100 crappy videos. Don't worry about subs. Don't try to promote it to no. Don't tell nobody about it. Don't try to promote it to nobody. Don't worry about subs. Don't worry about views. Don't just make the videos. Just make 100 videos because it's gonna
And
suck
post them
anyway.
all
You say
and
stay
go
up
ahead and
and
blow them up.
yeah. You said and post it, but he said, but don't worry about promotion. Don't worry about views. Don't worry about likes. Just make 100 videos. He said, I don't want you to promote anything until you make 100 videos because it's gonna suck anyway. And the analogy he gave was if you were playing basketball for the first time playing basketball, someone gave you basketball and said, I want you to make 10 shots, and it's your first time playing basketball, you probably wouldn't get none of those shots. But if you practice over and over and over again, you might get like 3 or 4. So he says the same thing with YouTube. Just make the videos. Don't worry about nothing. Just make the 100 videos, then start promoting. And I said, oh, that makes a lot of sense, man. And for what I'm doing, I said, this is super good. So I was like, and then it evolved over time. Like, but his framework fit what I'm trying to do perfectly. Unfortunately for me, I procrastinate. So
I say this all the time. Yeah, you do. We should talk about that before this is over. Um, I say this all the time, but it fits perfect with this. I totally love that strategy. Love it, dude. When I first started being like a creator and like coaching online and trying to figure out online marketing, I just hit record, put it in CapCut, and posted it. Like I didn't watch it ever. I put like some captions, but I just posted and posted and posted, and like I wasn't getting a ton of views, not getting a ton of likes, right? Family and friends. But what started to happen was my messaging got clearer, and I started to actually attract clients. And I say this all the time: those that care won't care. They won't care that you suck on camera. They won't care that your lighting's bad. They won't care that your captions suck or you didn't edit them all or that you're whatever. They won't care. If your messaging lands and they relate to you, it's that they'll reach out to you. They'll make it known. You don't need to have dialed in messaging like you're talking to 500 people because you're not talking to 500 people unless you're already a creator with an audience. So I love that. Do your 100 videos, put them out there, get the raw stuff because the people that do watch and go, "Ooh, that resonates with me," they're not going to care if it's perfect anyway because it's never going to be. That's my 2 cents on that. So why do you procrastinate?
I have no idea, dog. I just procrastinate. It just happens. It's just like this
It does,
100 video
dude.
thing should have been done a long time. I'm on video like 67 or 68, so I'm getting pretty close to finishing it. But there's just times I'm just like, I don't feel like it. I don't want to do it. I can't think of an idea of what to draw, or to play, or maybe I don't know how to record and make it like more creative or different. Sometimes I just procrastinate. But what I have learned throughout all these videos that I've been posting is it's been getting better and better and closer to the vision that I want it to be like from that creative standpoint, the more videos I make. So that makes me happy because now I'm at a point now where I'm like, okay, I know how I want how I want to look all like creative and stuff like that. Whereas back like video 10, it was just like, oh man. But now it's like it's getting to the vision that I had in my mind. Is getting closer to that vision. So it's like, yeah, and that's why I like so much about it. It always bring me back to this thing. It's like a video game design thing. When they were making Super Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64, it's like 1996, I think, or 1997 when that game came out, Super Mario 64.
Sounds about
And
right.
they
Mhm.
before they made the game, they made the model for Mario, the character, and but they didn't make anything else. They just put him in a big white room. No enemies, no hills, no obstacles, nothing. Just a big white room in Mario. And they spent months working on his movement, running around, jumping, flipping, crawling, punching. And they were trying to make the movement right for the player when they were making the game. They said, if we can make him move correctly without any of these obstacles and stuff, then when we put in the obstacles and the enemies and the hills, the player will be able to move in a way that benefits them and it makes sense to them and it feels right. Now I'm in that stage right now where I'm in that white room where I'm just being creative and just messing around and being experimental and stuff like that. And that's where I'm at right now. In that white room where it's just me, I'm Mario, and I'm just running around, jumping, crawling, punching, kicking, and all that stuff like that. And it feels good. It feels good. I like being in this room. It's addicting. I'm not gonna lie. It's very addicting.
That's a really cool way to put it. I'm glad you said that because that and I like what I like about that is because it also creates consistency so that no matter what that obstacle is that's in front of him, he's going to jump the same way because that's how Mario jumps, right? And he's perfected the way that he jumps, just like you are for you perfecting, the way that you play, the way that you draw, the way that you're doing any of the elements of this, right? And so I think that's a really cool thing. Like you're perfecting those little bits and pieces so that when it does all come together, it's consistent. It's already you. Like it's already Remcy, right? Like it's no question about that. How long have you been actively working at this vision?
Oh my god. I think since I first had the idea in 2021 and started working on it
Okay.
seriously probably in 2023. Just like
Okay.
just like video game development. That's why I always go back to video games. So 2023 is 2020, probably 2020. I have to go back and look at my first video, but probably 2023 or 2022. Probably 2023, I think. Well, that's not even that
Okay.
long. That's only like
It's 3 years.
2026, 3 years. Yeah, it's not that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot longer than that. But I had the idea in
Well,
2021 though.
well, and that's it. So, and here's the thing: even if it was an idea and you weren't physically creating something, you were still creating. I bet in your mind, were you? Were you thinking about
Oh
it?
yeah,
Were you
yeah.
ideas there?
The minute I had the idea, I wrote it on my phone. It's one of those things that just pop into my head. I was talking to my friend on the phone. I'll never forget. It was April 2021. It was that month of that year. I was talking to my friend. And it popped into my head, and I wrote it down on my phone. And after that, I wrote like 100 more ideas. After that one idea, so I was like, "Oh man, if I'm having 100 more ideas, this might be something that I should probably start doing." And after that, I just kind of just was like, eh. And then I started working. My friend was like, "Come on, you gotta do this stuff, man." I said, "Okay, yeah, maybe one day." And then 2022, I started taking more serious again, started getting more cameras and more microphone and all sorts of stuff like this. It started becoming more serious as the years went on, but it was definitely something that came to me in a big way in 2021. 100 ideas in that first year I wrote down on my phone. After that first
Wow.
idea, 100 more ideas. I was like, "Damn, that's crazy."
I think it's cool that you're doing this process thing too, because if you were the destination guy where you're like, no, I need to be there like right now, you would have probably missed all of those really cool ideas or a lot of them, you know? Um, so I think that that's really neat. How has your vision of this changed, if it has, over time? Like, is what you envision now, is it the same as what you envisioned when you started, or is it a little different?
No, like what Brandon said, it's evolved over time, just like what
Yeah.
Brandon said. Because originally, I wanted it to be based off of video games and anime, and that was the original vision, was to draw like popular video game characters, and then put the music from those games into like the same thing, but with like video game characters that are already known, like Sonic, Mario, Zelda, Final Fantasy, stuff like that. That was the original idea, and then I said, "Oh, wait a minute, they'll probably sue me if I do this." Like you're not gonna get sued, but you could get sued because it is their stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, wait a minute, I have to pivot here. This I can't this I can't do that. I have to make up my own characters and stuff like that." And
Mhm.
then it starts, okay, let me try to think of a story, and that took time to develop and stuff like that. So like what Brandon said, it evolved because that was the original vision, but then it evolved over time. I said, no, I could make my own characters and stuff like that. And now I want to create my own music too, because all these things I could like, these things are in my head. I could I can think of a song in my head and play it, an original song, not like something that's been done. I can hear it in my head. I can see the visions in my mind, what to draw from imagination, but it's getting it out there and stuff like that. So yeah, but like what Brandon said, it evolved over time. It definitely evolved. It's far from the original vision that I first had.
Yeah. And how do you feel about what has evolved over that time compared to what it was first? Like, is it like, are you stoked at where you landed, or does it make you more kind of stuck? Does it give you like, how do you feel about it when you think about the vision now compared to what it was before?
I'm definitely more happy that I didn't go with the original vision. Because I am not trying to get sued, man. But
Yeah.
but I'm happy I didn't go with the original. I'm happy that I went with the vision of creating my own characters.
Mhm.
Maybe even sometimes putting my own original music in there and stuff like that. Besides, copyright free music and stuff like that. Because it's more me. I'm putting more of my own self into what I'm doing now at this point. So that's I'm more happy where I am right now. Am I stuck? I think I tend to overshoot. I think I tend to be overly ambitious. This project may not come together until July of next year, fully. Um, that's when I split it because I'm coming to a point now where it's like it's coming towards the final. It's still like a long way to go, but it's like that final couple chapters. I can see it's coming to the end of it. So, but I expect it to be something like next year. It could be this year, but I expect it to be next year. I tend to be overly ambitious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it is coming to the final stages from when I first started in 2023, 2022.
Nick in the chat said, what does it take to move closer to your goal today?
Taking it one step at a time.
What's the
So,
next step?
what's the next step? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
The next step, I guess the next step that I could think of is I guess learning how to draw like the human body is what I'm working on right now. There's two ways of doing it. You can draw like in like circle, like a circle, a triangle, and like a rectangle for your hand or whatever. But I don't learn that way. It's kind of hard for me to learn that way. So I have to learn like the surgical way, which is like drawing the human body like an actual doctor, like going from the bones, then to the bones, to the muscles, to the skin, then to it's very complicated, but I like doing it that way, and it makes me like learn faster. When I did that, I was able to draw this. I don't know if you can see it.
Ooh, look at that eye.
It's like an eye of an animal. And
Mhm.
I was able to draw this. Supposed to be like two hands like
Oh, I
that.
dig
Oh,
that.
that's cool. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one
So
of
I'm
my
Hands
gonna
are
ask a
hard.
question.
Hands are hard.
yeah,
I'm just
hands are
saying.
yes,
They're
they're
really
very
tough to
hard. Hands
Yeah.
and feet are extremely difficult to draw. Extremely difficult.
If-
Everybody says that. Every artist I've always met like 2 or 3 that say that, "Oh no, it's easy." I'm like, "Yo, y'all crazy, bro." Hands and feet are extremely difficult to draw. I don't understand why either. I can never understand, but they are. It's difficult.
So
Mhm.
maybe there's others thinking it. I know I am a little bit. And if you haven't used AI for like storyline development, character development, helping you like figure stuff out about that, look into it. I've been like self-writing a book series in my head for like 15 years. And recently, as like a side project, I've decided to get that out using Gemini, and it's been fun. Like it's helped me in overnight get so much out of my head and in line. But my question, and I think some listeners might have it, in the world of AI, digital arts, quick, like you could do this probably in like some people could do it like overnight, maybe a week, right? Why teach yourself music, art, character development, storyline writing, all of these projects in one to do it all yourself?
Because when and I maybe because I'm an artist, so I can see it. Because I love AI. Brandon knows I love AI. I love it. At first I was just like, eh, but then I was like, I was watching some video where some lady said you can upload your PDFs and make a study guide and make a guide out of it to study. And once I did that, I was like, oh, I'm in this. I'm in it hardcore. But the thing is, AI has a specific um like a sameness to it. Like whenever you put like an AI to do art, it's always the same kind of art. It's like as an artist, I can see it's very samey. It's not like it has a different art style. It's the same art style they have every
Losing the
single time it
uniqueness.
comes out. There's no like uniqueness to it. Maybe because
Mhm.
it's picking from different. It's like it takes from different artists, but they keep making the same art. Like whenever I look at people's like YouTube videos and I see they're using AI art, it's always the same exact AI art every single time. I'm just like, but this is not unique. It's just the same AI art. So I think the benefit of doing it yourself is you get to differentiate yourself, differentiate yourself from the AI because you have your own vision and twists and look different from everybody else because you know how to do it. Whereas AI is just taken from different parts, but it's making the same kind of art every single time. I don't know how to explain that, but it does. It's like it's very strange that every time I see it, I'm just like, yeah, it's AI. I can see it. But what the benefit of
Mhm.
doing it yourself is you get to stand out from the AI as the only human who's really truly creative compared to the rest of the people who are doing it with AI. You have your own uniqueness, and no one can take that away from you.
Great answer.
Mhm.
So, man, what for you? What do you got coming up? I know you're working on for your art and stuff, but what do you got going on in life for next steps of your projects or anything?
Oh man, right now it's just chilling, being in the process, continue doing the drawings and stuff like that. Right now I'm trying to master the fundamentals of drawing. So just drawing circles, squares, triangles, perspective, um, cubes and stuff like that. Learning how to draw a line in a specific way that can convey emotion. It sounds like it's trivial, but it's not. It's going to help me in the long run. And then once I master the basics, and with the piano and the guitar as well, I'm gonna start going to more advanced stuff, songs and the human body, and learn how to draw the human body, learn how to draw animals, learn how to draw clothes and wrinkles and trees and stuff like that. But it all starts with the basics. My friend told me that. He said if you want to be intermediate level, just master the basics. That's it. Just master the basics, and then you'll be able to fly to intermediate level. I'm not trying to be an expert. I just want to be just good enough what people can see, like, okay, he knows how to do this. So I want to master the basics first, and then go on to being intermediate, and then after that, gonna fly. Yeah, yeah, that's it. But right now, mastering the basics, the fundamentals. I love that. Oh, sorry, I'm hyped, man.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
I'm
that's
here for it.
awesome.
Hey, Nick Turner said, School's favorite dog breeder says, "What are you mastering right now?"
chords on the guitar. So G chord, C, E, D, D7, A7. Same thing with piano behind me, you know, C, B, G, A, all those chords, playing simple songs and stuff like that. And then for the drawing, like I said before, for the drawing and for painting, learning color theory, learning how color theory works, learning about colors and the history behind colors like brown and green and purple and yellow and stuff like that. I didn't know that this was even a thing, but this is a real thing, like color theory. I was like, this is real for paint for real, like, and then and then for drawing, it's just circles, triangles, squares, contours, how to draw contours, how to draw something like so I'm going like this, how to draw so that my hand is really pointing and you see my hand, and then my head's gonna be smaller when I'm drawing and stuff like that. That's what I'm doing right now. Hope I answered the question correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Dude, no, that's incredible. And your energy and how you light up about like learning and your creative process and the whole 9 yards, man, is infectious. It's
Mhm.
awesome. I'm proud of you for how long we've known each other, for the things where you are right now with this. And I can't wait to see, keep sharing with us. I know you have in the past. I can't wait to see your progression, man. And Chris, C Joy, any final questions as we wrap up?
I mean, really, I'm excited to see whatever this YouTube channel is, even if you're not putting it out there. Like, I want to
We're
see
gonna find it.
what you're working on. Like, I want to. And are you putting like everything on there that you're learning as you're learning, or are you just picking and choosing what you put on there?
Um, it's everything, but sometimes it's just throwing something up there just to throw something up there. But
Yeah.
it's mostly things that I'm learning. But sometimes I'm just throwing stuff up there so I just don't forget how to do it. Because if if I don't do something for a long time, sometimes I don't like know how to do it anymore. So I gotta go back to square one. But
Hmm.
it's just everything. But I'm being more intentional now as I'm getting towards the last 30 videos to 100. So I'm being more intentional now with what I put up there to make sure that it's more on the creative side than anything else. Like, but still like still practical, but creative at the same time. If that makes any sense.
Totally. What is? How do we find you on YouTube? What's your thing?
Oh, it's Project Sonore. Sonore. Yeah,
All right.
that is it right there.
So we're gonna
Okay.
leave Nick and his daughter with a little gold nugget here. So he asked today or recently, what have you learned about color theory or perspective? His daughter is an artist and he finds this super interesting.
Color theory. Well, color theory, it's more about how colors work and what they mean. So like green can represent like something that's envious, but also something that's because like poison ivy, like the Batman villain, Poison Ivy is like a lot of green, but it also represents something that's like good, like nature, because trees are. I live by a forest, so like trees are like green. So like that kind of, you know, depending on how you use the color green, if you make it really really bright and light, it could be more like a nature thing. Use a darker green, like a really dark green. It's more like the tone of that color will make you feel like it could be like use like a envious or a bad emotion, depending on the color of the spectrum of, and that's just green. That's not to say about purple and black and white are really really good for like creating contrast in something. So if you draw a picture and it's super black on one side, more people will be drawn towards that black. Or if you switch it, vice versa, someone you draw something like super dark, you make something that's very light white, more people will be drawn towards that white part. Good for contrast, things like that. It's deep, man. It goes psychologically, it goes super deep. I didn't know it goes that deep like that, but it does. I
Right
don't know what
on.
I forgot what the other part of the question was.
You know, the other thing about green that I think is interesting, like this color green here, that is the heart chakra color. And you would think that that would be like red or pink or something because it's about love, but that color green actually means love, and it's also associated with your heart chakra. So I always thought that that was really interesting too, that green can be so many things, just that color.
Yeah, yeah, that is super cool. That was actually an awesome
Mhm.
question. Thanks, Nick. That was odd. Um, so man, This has been awesome. OG member of Evergreen Evolution to Foundations now. Super appreciate you stopping by and hanging out and having this conversation with us. I always ask one final question. What does the word evolution mean to you?
Oh, uh, I'm gonna go back to process, not process, not product. It has to mean to me. That's where I'm at currently. Definitely, it means focusing on the process, man, and you evolve through focusing on that process. Then you look back and you see how much you evolved. Wow, that's what it means to me. That's what comes to my head anyway. So that's it.
I
Focusing on the
love that.
process, not the product.
Love it, man. Like, this has
Yeah.
been so fun. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks, Nick. Awesome questions. And Evelyn for coming by and check us out. Thanks, C-Joy, for everything. Next week, we have Connor Mason, who is a junior in high school client of mine, who's a general awesome young man that works for a suicide prevention uh, a nonprofit. There we go. I can't speak words. Nonprofit. And we're going to interview him, see what he's up to. Great young kid. Can't wait. Can't wait for that. Until next week, subscribe on YouTube. Follow us here in Evergreen Foundations on Skool. I'm Brandon Decremer from Tornado Power Builders.
And I'm Christina Joy from Chaos to Clarity Lab.
And we're from Evergreen Foundations. Thanks, Remcy. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Keep evolving.
Thank you.